So what is up, everybody? Welcome back to Gamertag VR. My name's GT, and today I'm joined by Sergio Hidalgo. Is that right? Did I say it right?
You said it perfectly. And hello, GT, and thank you for having me.
Excellent, man. Excellent. So you are the mastermind behind DREADHALLS. Yesterday, you dropped a trailer for your upcoming game, which is currently only going to be available on Steam and Oculus Rift at the beginning, as I believe DREADHALLS has been made basically across all platforms now.
Yeah, I think most major, at least the major VR platforms, they are all covered. And there are some other smaller platforms that is not available on, but yeah, you can find it on Rift, on Steam, on Oculus Quest,
Yeah, man.
PSVR too.
Let's talk about DREADHALLS quickly, because a lot of people don't ever forget playing DREADHALLS. Was your intention to make something absolutely terrifying? Because that's exactly what it is.
It was a strange thing because I didn't start with the idea of making even a horror game, but the game kept evolving that direction, and at some point I realized, I have something that is scary. Let's go the extra mile and turn it into an actual horror game.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
initially the game was more of a roguelike dungeoneering kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. He's absolutely terrifying. The reason DREADHALLS will always stay quite close to my heart, I guess, is because when I started being a virtuality streamer, it was like the first game where I had quite a big audience, and we was all going along for the ride, and it was funny, man. It made me scream, it made me swear, and it's cool. Is it procedurally generated as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because so basically every time you play it, it's always something different. And how many of you made that game?
I started on my own. I made the first prototype and I released that prototype. So maybe you played that, I'm not sure. But after that prototype, it was successful and people were playing it. Then I started working on the full game. And I think maybe the full team was about 5 people. They were contractors,
Right.
so they weren't, full-time employees or anything like that. But yeah, maybe about 5, 6 people total.
So is this? I take it at the time that wasn't your full-time job, but now is it now your full-time job?
Yeah, and in fact, DREADHALLS is paying my bills still. So yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. So the first time I played it personally was actually on PlayStation VR, and it came as part of a pack, a game
Yeah.
pack. I can't remember the name of the pack.
HeroCade.
HeroCade. And to be fair, yours was the best thing on it. And then obviously the next time I played it was on the Oculus Quest. What are the figures like on there? I mean, you must. I would imagine it's doing quite well.
But yeah, it's doing very well on Quest. Without saying too much, I think the figures in Quest is more than the other platforms combined.
Yes, yeah, it wouldn't surprise
So
me.
yeah, it works very well.
So let's talk about Cosmophobia. First of
Yeah.
all, the name. What's the name representing?
I don't know how I came to that name. Initially, I just called it DREADHALLS in Space or Space Halls.
Yeah.
And at some point, I was looking for for a name for the game, for an actual game, and I ran into several ideas. And this one kind of spoke to me, the idea of fearing the space, fearing the celestial bodies and all that. And it's
Yeah.
actually a fear. It's actually a phobia that some people have.
Yeah.
They have fear of the moon or Jupiter, or when you see those pictures, when you see the space and millions of stars and all that, some people get scared by that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of going back to the idea of cosmic horror and trying to tap into that.
Nice. Yeah. And I take it in this story you are once again just plunged into the story.
This one has a little more backstory, but it's more in the sense of that it has a lore and it has a background story.
Yeah.
But it's not a story game. It's a roguelike. You play a random generated map, and your objective is to escape the ship. You are going to find some texts and some pieces of information about where the ship came from and why this is there and all that, but it's not the focus of the game. The focus is more of the gameplay and the survival.
talking about platforms, I'm assuming by what you've just told me as well with the numbers from DREADHALLS, a Quest version is possibly going to happen at some point.
That doesn't depend only on me. Quest is a closed system, so it really depends on whether Oculus want the game on that platform or not.
That is very
And
true.
if they want the game, then I'll have to look into making a port. And the game is being developed with the idea of the releasing first on PC,
Yeah.
and that means it's not a AAA game by any means, but it's still outside the specs of a Quest title in terms of polygons, in terms of lighting, all the technology of it.
Yeah.
So it will need to be fitted into that, and we need to look into how much that costs and how long that process will be.
Yeah.
Right now, we don't know.
Would you say this is going to be technically more advanced than DREADHALLS? Because obviously DREADHALLS must be now 3 or 4 years old, I'm guessing. In total?
Yeah, first version of DREADHALLS I think was 2014 or 15.
Wow.
It depends, because 14 was the first prototype, but the actual game that released on Steam or the Oculus Store, the technology comes from 2015.
Yeah.
That's when I started developing it. So yeah, this is a bit old now.
Nice, man.
So yeah,
nice.
this one is going to look better also because it's using light maps. So in DREADHALLS, all the lighting was very dynamic. It was only your
Lantern. Yeah.
your lamps and a few other torches in the environment. But this one is using more interesting lights. So yeah, it's a bit more complicated to port, and also it has more polygons. Just has more detail in the environments, and it has a lot of very small items that you can play with, and it has physics. So you can, I don't know, grab an object off a table and throw it around and distract the monster.
Nice.
But that means it's also running a physics simulation. So yeah, it's more complicated to port. Just wanted to say that Quest is more powerful than some people can believe, because it's, when I first played with it, it's basically the insights of a phone, but it's more powerful than what you expect from a phone or something like that.
What games would you say have influenced Cosmophobia?
So there are a few influences that are very apparent, like Dead Space is one of them, of course.
Dead Space.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that series.
A recent game by Frictional Games, Soma.
Yeah.
So it became a classic horror game for me the moment I played it, and yeah, it put me in the mood for sci-fi and all that. And also not only games, but also movies like Final Horizon.
When you were thinking, when you were making DREADHALLS, were you already thinking of this game, or did it, like, what was the spark that made you think, right, I now need to make this game?
Not really. When I was making DREADHALLS, I was only thinking about finishing DREADHALLS.
Yeah.
And then when I finished, I had a few months that I wasn't sure what to go. I started several prototypes.
Yeah.
And one of those prototypes was about exploring people's homes, and the idea was that these homes will have some sort of paranormal presence or something, and you will have to explore it and cleanse it or something.
Yeah.
And it didn't fully work, but it became the seed of Cosmophobia.
Yeah.
And incidentally, there is another VR game right now that is very similar to that first idea, that first exploring homes and finding ghosts and all that.
Spectro.
So it's very fun because even if I didn't go that way, some other people did, and they eventually made a different version of that idea, and I really enjoyed it. So,
yeah, Spectro is a very good game actually. It does. Everyone talks about Luigi's Mansion and stuff. I think the color palette in that game,
it's very good.
Huge. It's so colorful, and the ghosts aren't scary, are they? They're like nice animated, almost Nintendo-ish looking things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of an action arcade game.
Yeah.
It's not really looking. I don't believe he's looking for making a horror experience.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
This a very good game.
So, what do you want players to feel when they're playing Cosmophobia? How would you want someone to feel in that game, or even after playing that game?
I don't believe that I'm going for the exact same experience as with DREADHALLS.
Yeah.
With DREADHALLS it was horror, pure horror, hide from monsters.
Jump scares, man. Jump scares galore. Yeah.
With this one, it's more about being in tension, and surviving and trying to find ways around the hazards and the creatures, and maybe find them, maybe avoid them, or distract them, or setting up a trap, which is something you can do.
Yeah.
And you can use the environment and the items that you find to try to get around these problems, these enemies and these hazards. And this also has a horror environment to it. Is one, it wants to be a scary game, but it's not going for pure horror.
Yeah.
Run away and hide.
So is it like an adventure as well? You're trying to go for that survival, horror, sci-fi.
It's kind of mixing all those elements, and I really like the idea of exploring an environment and being tense because you don't know what is going to show up, and having to deal with that when that happens. So you open a door, you don't know what is going to appear behind the door, and maybe there is a monster, maybe there is an empty room, you don't know, and that creates a certain tension in the player. So I'm playing with the monsters and with the monster generation. I don't want to comment too much on that because it's still in development.
Yes.
So I may remove it or if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But I want to do some ideas so that even the rooms that you believe are safe aren't really that safe.
Being a developer is obviously a financial risk, bringing a game, especially in virtuality, because it's still, I guess, seen as a bit of a niche form of entertainment. How does that reflect on you as a developer?
Yeah, it is a risk, especially compared with being a indie developer for the wider market. Like even a successful game like DREADHALLS, to me, DREADHALLS was a very successful game, and it enabled me to make another game, which is a lot. But even then, it's a small game compared to what is successful in the general market.
Yeah.
So it is a difficult proposition to make another VR game, but also because I made a VR game before, it means I now have an audience that I didn't have before. And if I went to make a more general game for the general market, I may not have that pre-built audience. So it kind of offsets the risk a bit, but it's still risky. So
why virtuality? Why do you, but like, what is the passion behind virtuality? Because I love virtuality, which is the reason I do this, but you're making games for virtuality. So what was the catalyst for this?
So I kind of feel like a bit of an imposter when I run into people who are like, they love VR and they are always thinking about VR, because I enter it from the angle of I want to make games. And VR just happened to be a good vehicle for that, a good way to make games. And it just happened that way that I made this first prototype of DREADHALLS for VR because I was playing with the technology, and I just got my DK1 on mail. I had time, I had my DK1, and I had an excuse to make a game, so I did, and it kind of blew up. But to me, it was just another prototype. I didn't put anything that I hadn't done for other prototype games that I made before. It's just that this one was better and worked better.
Yeah.
And starting from that point, it just made sense to keep developing that and then keep working on VR, because now I have this audience and now I have this this know-how, because I learned about how to make games in VR, and now I can apply that to new projects.
Nice. I see your is that an Oculus Quest?
Oh yeah.
So
this one, this is a little trophy, or
it's a launch title trophy, isn't it, or something? Is that a launch title trophy? Is it a launch title trophy?
Yeah,
that's
it. Oculus sends these little trophies whenever you are part of one of their launches.
That is amazing.
So yeah, I have three of them now: the Rift, Go, and this one is for the Quest.
Wow, man!
Really happy with them for these little details, because it really makes you happy when you get one of these in the mail.
Yeah, that must be incredible. Like, because it's official, dude. It is official. It's been made official. Thank you ever so much for your time, Sergio.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Bye.